This time on PFDAuto, we're going to start putting stuff back in the engine bay. We've torn it all out, cleaned it all up, got it painted. Now it's time to start reassembling. Alright, so what we're using here is just this paint stripper, got from Home Depot. And this thing was sitting underneath the brake master cylinder that was obviously leaking, and the paint started to peel off anyways. I want to repaint this thing black again, but first off, I have to get all this old crusty paint off. So what I'm hoping is brushing this on, letting it sit for a little bit. This will start to peel up. I've got some wire brushes. I'm going to try to strip all of this paint off. We'll see how it works. I'm kind of in this all in at this point because paint is never going to stick to this paint remover. So I have to get this off, get it cleaned up, get it painted before I can put it back in the engine bay. I do want it back in the engine bay when I get the motor, so I know that the engine's not going to interfere with it, or it's not going to interfere with the engine. I'm pretty sure I've got enough room, but I won't know until I have them both in the engine bay together. So I want to paint this, make it its final home, back in the engine bay, and then we'll throw the engine in and make sure everything fits. Okay, this stuff's been sitting for about 15 minutes. We'll grab this wire brush, see if we can get some of this paint off. So I guess if I had a piece of advice, get yourself a decent scraper. This is literally a spike for some lawn edging, but it's all I had. I had a scraper for the hood pad. I'm not quite sure what happened to that. So after doing this for a while, what today me would have done, before I started trying to do this yesterday, is I would have sanded off this paint that was already flaking off, and I would have just repainted it. Probably wouldn't have been the best finish, but it sure would have been a lot easier than this. I think I'm going to try to take these out. Bought some earplugs the other day to pop in there. I'll give that a shot. See if we can't get a better coat next time. I am hoping that the earplugs don't melt, but only time will tell. So both of these need to get cleaned. I'm going to pop some earplugs in here. Like I said, hope they don't melt and fill up those holes. So what I'm going to try is I've got 3. And the way you put these in your ears, twist them up, stuff them in there, and then they'll expand back out. That worked pretty well. I'm happy with that. I'm running with it. Now I can get in here, get to these harder to reach spots. Do a better job cleaning this. Well, I could probably keep scrubbing this and get some more of this paint off. I'm going to try to work a little smarter. Just put more of this stripper on. See if we can't get this stuff to just slough off instead of having to scrub it all. So I'm just using the cheapest brush I could find, home store. Spread this stuff around. All right. Now we just wait for this stuff to do its thing. Come back and keep scrubbing. All right, well, this has been sitting for a while again. Go back at it with the wire brush. See if we made some progress. I'm going to get some more plugs in there before I fill it with dirt. I think we're going to put another coat on here, though. Hopefully get some more of this junk off of here so we can start painting. This is the not fun stuff that you don't see in the car shows on TV. And honestly, if you're watching this, I'm a little surprised. Thank you, but I'm still surprised. All right, let her sit, scrub it down. All right, well, back at this third, fourth, I don't remember, more junk on here. Trying to clean this off still. Brush is looking a little sad. We're gonna give it another scrub, see how much further we get. Finally starting to clean up. I think after this coat, I'm gonna get out the drill with a wire brush, go over this as much as I can, try to get the rest of this paint off. I think we've reached about the end of what the stripper is gonna do. So, I was hoping this would be a lot easier. I've seen paint stripper just slough paint off, but whatever this is does not want to come off. I'm going to really try to get in these hard to reach spots right now. I don't think the wheel's going to do much in there. Alright, well, I'm going to rinse this thing off with some water. And put the wire brush in the drill. Really have at this thing. That should finish it off. Might have even worked better from the get. But, you live and you learn. Not sure why this didn't take the paint off more. Maybe it was a different kind of coating. We'll give it a shot with the wheel, and I'll show you what happens. Well, I tried it off camera. The drill is definitely the jam. Works a lot faster. It's getting all this junk off. I went and got just a set of different size brushes. So far this one's working the best. Probably get the smaller one out and get in these smaller spots. This is taking a lot off, so I'm just going to keep at it. Alright, well, I was afraid that was going to happen. I do have other drill charging. I didn't treat this at all underneath. I'm sure some got underneath here, but it is taking it off. So I'm just going to keep at it. You can tell. I mean, this is working way better than doing it by hand. So I'll get this finished up, and when I go to paint, I'll be back. Oh, here it is, painted. Is it perfect? Nope, but it'll definitely do. It looks a lot better than it did. Once we get these other lines painted, we'll get this back in the car, and we can start working on getting the engine bay back together. So I've been waiting for that paint stripper to work. Been trying to clean up this ABS unit. It had this yellow stuff all over it. It's almost like lacquer, clear that failed, but it peels off. It was real chunky under the lips, things like that. So I've just been hitting it with the wire brush to get it cleaned up. And I'll go back over and sand all the wire brush marks out. Not sure if I'm going to paint it, clear it. I don't know. But we're at least going to get it cleaned up, looking shiny before we put it back in the engine bay. This might give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. So I haven't brushed this one, but I've obviously brushed this one. There's a stark difference. It's full of crud, yellow, back to polished metal. I do think I need to coat this with something, just clear, something, not quite sure, but I want it to stay looking clean at least. And I believe this is just from years of being in the engine bay. So I'll let you know what I decide to do. But for now, keep cleaning. Well, I hope the camera picks it up, because this thing is looking a lot better. I mean, this whole thing was yellow and gross, varnish. You can still see there's some little pieces I need to clean up, but the entire thing was that color. Let's see if we can focus in on that. Had that just everywhere. I mean, this whole top is all corroded. Everything on this was covered. So I'm pretty happy with the results. I keep cleaning a little bit, and like I said, decide what to do with the finish. I'm at least going to sand the wire brush marks out. Got some 1000 grit, should do a really good job of that. Go back and get these little spots, and just keep on trucking. Alright, so what we have here is 2 of the mounts for the ABS unit. This is the one I've cleaned up. You can tell it's not perfect, but it sure looks a lot different than this one. I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this one up. Got one more to do after that, and I'll show you what the difference is. So I'm just using a wire brush. Seems to clean this up pretty well, avoiding the rubber. Just clean that up with some of those wipes that I've got. I think it came out pretty nice. I do need to clean up this hardware a little bit more, but I'm going to have to take it all apart to do that and figure out a way to hold it. I'm sure it would help if my wire brush was in a little better shape, but I only bought 3 of them. Alright, now that we've got that mostly knocked down, what I've been doing is just kind of rubbing it on this steel wool. You can see it finishes right out. Gets rid of all the rest of the gunk. Kind of puts a nicer surface on it. It's also a little easier to get its rounded parts. Then I just Clean up the rubber here. A lot of gunk down in here. But I don't want to hit it with the wire brush and mess up this rubber because I have not been able to find these pieces for sale anywhere. To me, car from 1992 doesn't sound that old. But when you go to Mercedes, it's a classic. If you can get parts for it, they're either the same across newer models, or you're going to have to go to the Classic Center to get parts. But I mean, in all reality, it doesn't take a whole lot to get them cleaned up. Looking good enough to go back in my engine bay. As you can see, they look pretty good. I have noticed getting a little bit of corrosion on these parts that I've cleaned off. So I'm going to have to spray some clear or something on them to keep them from corroding. So I'll probably end up getting some more 2-part clear, cleaning them up real nice. Kind of thinking this finish might be their original protectant, because you can see here where I got a little overzealous with my sanding. I came through to a darker color. You can see some of these spots on this one that was particularly corroded are all through to that same color. Not much I can do about that, but I mean, from the start to the finish, I think it was worth the time. I might just try to find some new hardware to throw on here. Don't think I'm going to be able to clean these up real well, but we'll see how that goes. But there you have it. Start to finish, cleaning one of these up. And here we have the ABS pump. Went ahead and painted this, painted the little screw even. And I kind of like the brush finish on this, but I am, again, going to have to spray some clear on it. These are those mounts. Just slide onto these little locations here. There's 3 of them. There's one on the other side. And that's how it mounts up to the car. But all in all, I'm fairly happy with it. There's some spots here where I'd like to go back and resand, clear them up, maybe hit this with a little bit of real fine sandpaper and just knock it down, or just leave it. I'm not 100% sure. It already looks so much better than it did when I pulled it out of there. So let me know what you think. So this is our master cylinder for the brake system. As you can see, it's got the same funk on it the ABS unit had, and now they were sitting at least a foot apart. But if that's a factory finish, it has failed. So I'm going to do the same thing, wire brush this up. We might go for clear, we might go for silver, not sure, depends on how it finishes out. But it's not going into the engine bay looking like this. There's definitely some crud down in here that I'm going to have to get out. Flush this whole thing out with some brake clean. But I think for the most part, it's looking pretty solid. Should probably see if I can replace this O-ring. Guessing it's not supposed to be flat. Not going to pull it off of there yet until I know I can get another one. But it's looking a lot better. I can tell though that this had some silver paint on it. You can see where I kind of scrubbed through it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to repaint this with some silver paint. Hopefully that matches really well to this. And I think it'll look pretty sharp at that point. It still functions fine. Got a new reservoir coming for it. And yeah, I'm digging it. Once I get it painted, I'll show you all how it looks, and hopefully we can get this back in the engine bay before too long. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I know it might have not been the most interesting. Hopefully it was informative. Give you a little insight into the not so fun stuff about building cars. I did get this, and that's going to be a lot more fun. Got all the stuff to give it a little overhaul. We're not going to go crazy, but you know, button things up, replace some seals, spark plugs, things like that. Then we're going to get it in this engine bay with all those parts I just showed you, get some mounts built, and we'll be on our way to a running, driving car. Hope you stay tuned. Thanks for watching PFDAuto.